expanding and trying to see more, rather than like
this goes down to a standard.
Yeah, it goes down like a button that goes
Yeah.
all the way down. So that's something to think about.
But maybe a quick pinch, you know.
Yeah.
Or time. If it has been inactive for
Oh
a
no,
certain
I'm running
time,
out of
it
batteries.
just becomes small. And now we're gonna make things. You've been scrolling, you've been discussing, sharing this content. And now I'm gonna make a facade. I choose one of the landscapes, I make it big.
Yeah, we should have a big.
Yeah,
Don't
you should
have
have
a
a big.
picture of me.
You need a big landscape.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was difficult.
Higher. Oh, okay. It is bigger. But now comes a problem. Among this content, like we have seen that there are instructional videos, there are videos that they have made themselves, there are examples of material.
Is he the architect?
No. There are also these two-dimensional representations of either facade or plane that they've been drawing based on three-dimensional physical models that they build. So the simple idea is just to have a photography on in the background, and then you add layers. This is a sketch. And then they have to... it doesn't really work when the house is...
But how does it blend?
It doesn't blend. It could have a transparency, of course, that
Yeah, it could.
whatever is white never gets totally white. It becomes more of
Opaque.
opaque. Our challenge
Opaque,
is to make
Mm.
the cut out,
Right.
right? To say that it's the student can cut it, but whatever way you digitalize it, it will come with the background. So you have to say minus the background somehow. I doubt they're gonna go through like Photoshop and say.
Yeah, but that's a little hard on the table to kind of. What's that? The scissor tool on.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you could imagine that they have to stroke the outer line without any holes in it, and you could click on the outside like a wand.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, there's a lot of programming into that. That will kind of cut out the basic shape.
But if you had a GIF, then that could come in without a background. Right?
Yeah, but we can do that in Java, I'm sure. I mean, to treat all the whitish as opaque or transparent and so on.
Yeah, yeah.
But the problem then is that, you know, the background also shines to the walls. So I mean, it could be that you have to draw a line, you know, on the outside of your drawing, and then everything else is just
Cropped, right.
cropped, yeah. So that may actually be a function that we need to do this layering.
Right.
Because then you would just, you know, place and, you know, play with the scales and.
The question is that a must-have for the layering, or is there a workaround if we don't have time to build that function?
Well, I think as the idea develops now, the layering of images is really important, and you will see that also when we come to the hot linking. So, because this is the way the students will actually present their project in the end, and the way the project will be mediated on the web. So, I mean, to just have, I mean, not to do any image processing at all would not really, you know, play with that idea, I think.
Okay.
But for the pilot, we could definitely help the students making GIFs.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit in the background and play with Photoshop, of course. I mean, just to simulate that idea. That's
These are
very
the people?
These are people. Because part of the idea is also to lower the demand on the students to make beautiful things, but then so they make like raw sketches, but then you add predefined things that makes the whole presentation look a bit more professional. So you have these things and birds and whatever.
That's pretty cool.
And that's also important to make perspective, because you can resize this so that this comes closer.
Oh, and you can make a little person.
Yeah, little person, big person.
Mini me.
But that was a good example at the museum we just went, where they had tried to simulate how tall this building was by having little people on top. But the problem was that they were just too small, so it didn't work. But this is very good for a multi-touch table to make this perspective. Maybe it was your idea, actually. It was, I think. To have the people resize would make it possible to make perspective.
So this is but we're in the facade.
We're in the facade, and then you have to argue what these external partners are eager on, and us as well, is that you have to make a good argument for your choices, and that's more important than actually the illustration of design. So what you do is to make little hot spots or hot links, whatever you call them. So we have to define what this means, how to create a hot spot.
Then you link it?
Yeah, then it's more an open collapse where we discussed what's the technical kind of... I see this more as a open collapse thing instead of linking from there to somewhere else. Because when I press, it opens up a space where I can draw drag and drop references that make up my argument. And I write. Yeah. I say, for instance, reason why table is that we use recycled material on the roof is that yes, it's both waterproof and it's environmentally correct. So I have a picture and I have external and internal.
You can
references.
have more than one hotspot, right? And then so I like this idea, and it kind of goes, it grows, and then it shrinks, and these things can go, and maybe they kind of glow.
That?
They kind of like glow so that you know that they're there.
Yeah. But the hotspot should have some. Yeah, I mean you have pointed to some.
Do you have like a toolbox to add?
Yeah. Are there some way you can drag hotspots?
Like in Google Maps, you can drag a little pin, for example.
Like this.
No, but in your example that you just sent, they had a little menu coming out. If this is like your edit.
Yeah, but the menu you need to place it first because this can vary in scale. So we don't know where you have to place that hotspot before.
Yeah, that's the starting point. That here I want to say something about a window.
That's what I'm saying. But we have to define that.
Yeah.
Because one point in this is this. So how do you know that one point means hotspot?
Yeah,
we make an object as a tool, as a palette, and we can drag this hotspot over there, and then when this tool has its own actions,
its properties.
Okay, but that's definitely something that should be written up as a task with various solutions, because this is one that you drag from a palette. Another one is that you press for a certain amount of time, or
maybe you just make a gesture. Maybe you make an H.
Or press.
Because we can do that now with the gestures.
Yeah. What normally represents something you can dive into more?
We can make a circle.
Circle is the entrance point.
Because we want to get away from.
What do you have for games and stuff? Don't you have little anchors or not anchor?
Could be
something that invites for more exploration. It's like a treasury place. Or
You mean like a treasure chest?
I don't know. Something, a metaphor for here there's more information for you.
It's usually like something that glows.
Yeah, it should glow. But the symbol we have to define. You have to define both the gesture and the symbol.
Yeah.
So that's, but then, and then there's a general need of just make all this heterogeneous